So I'm going to talk about mathematical expressions today. An example of a mathematical expression is just numbers and operations and no equal signs. For example, 1 plus 1 is a mathematical expression. 2 times 7 is a mathematical expression. 3 times 1 plus 7 is a mathematical expression. 2 plus 1 equals 3 is not an expression. This is an equation, which we'll talk about later. It's called an equation because it has an equal sign. An equation and equal come from the same word. So, but this is not an expression. These are expressions. And we're going to talk about expressions today. So, we have a story problem here, and we need to figure out which one of these expressions matches it. Terry had 18 worms. She gave 4 worms to Susie and 3 worms to Jamie. So let's underline how many worms she gave away. So she gave away 4 worms and 3 worms, okay? But she had 18 worms. So this is what she started with, but this is what she gave away. So let's just look at the part that she gave away. 4 and 3. Now, if I wanted to know the total number of worms that she gave away, I would add these together, right? There would be a total of 7 worms. But we're going to leave this as an expression because we're just learning how to set up mathematical expressions. So 4 plus 3 is how many worms that she gave away to different people. Now, what does the 18 stand for? Well, that's how many she started with. Now, if this represents how much I started with, and this is how much was given away, to find out what is left, you would subtract. And that is how we get this as our expression for this. It is not this one. So what this says is I had 18 worms, I gave 4 away, and then I got 3 more. And if you evaluated these, you would find that these give different answers. This one fits this situation, this one doesn't. And this one, at the end, we gain 3 worms. But in this situation, we give 3 more away. Now, what we're doing here is kind of is basically pre-algebra. And it looks pretty simple, but the reason we're practicing on really simple problems is so that when we have more complex problems in the future, we'll know how to deconstruct them and come up with these expressions and solve the problems. If you can master this, just the technique of just changing a story problem into a mathematical expression, then algebra will be a piece of cake, because understanding how this gets to this is one of the biggest parts of algebra, or applying it at least. So now we have this one. I'll zoom in. Rick had $8. He then worked 4 hours for $5 each hour. So this is how much he started with, this is how many hours he worked, and this is how much he worked per hour. So if I have, let's figure out how much he makes in 1 hour. Well, $5. Well, how many hours does he work? 4 hours. So to figure out how much he makes when he works, we would say, well, he makes $5 and per hour, he works 4 hours. And so I would multiply them together. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 4 times 5. That gives me the amount of money he gets in 4 hours. Now, let's look at the $8. Now, do I include the $8 in this multiplication problem? Do I say 5 plus 8 times 4? No, I'm not making $8 more dollars every hour. I'm just starting with $8. So I can just add the $8 to the 4 times $5. And that's how I get this as my answer. Now this option doesn't even make any sense. I'm taking dollars and I'm adding it to the number of hours. that doesn't really, that doesn't mean anything because it doesn't make any sense. So, but this one does. So now I have another story problem, and I need to make it into an expression, a numerical expression. It doesn't give me choices this time, so I have to figure it out. Greg walks dogs for 5 days. He walks 4 dogs each morning and 3 dogs each afternoon. So let's look at what he does every day. He walks 4 dogs every day in the morning. And he walks 3 dogs every day in the afternoon. So if I want to know everything, all the dogs that he walks in one day, I would take these and I would add them together, okay? And then the number of days that he does this is 5 days. So 4 plus 3 is the total number of dogs per day, and this is the number of days. So I have 5 and 4 plus 3. Well, once again, this is what we do in one day, and this is the number of days. Well, if I want to know the total number of dogs over those 4 days, I would multiply 5 times 4 plus 3, and this is my expression. Notice there's no equal sign. Notice I'm not evaluating it. We're just learning how to set up expressions. Lydia has 27 fewer fish than Jack. Jack has 80 fish. Well, I know that Jack has 80 fish, and then Lydia has 27 less than Jack. Well, if Jack has 80, then I just subtract 27 from that, and that is how much Lydia has. That's a very simple one, but that is an expression that describes how much, that's not Lydia, that's Linda, how much Linda has. Okay, now here's the fun one that we did in class. This is an expression that we need to come up with a story that fits this. 34 minus 17. So what I'm going to do is say, Bob had 34 cookies and he gave 17 of them away. Okay? This story fits this expression. 34 cookies, gave away 17. So if I were to evaluate this, that would tell me how many cookies Bob has left. This one's a little bit more complicated. 12 minus 4 times 6, or 6 times the quantity 12 minus 4. So let's say Susie for the past 6 years, Susie got $12 for her birthday, and gave $4 of that to her little brother. Okay? So she got $12 every year, and then she gave $4 of it to her little brother, and she's done that for the past 6 years. So we subtract the amount she gave to her brother, and we multiply that by 6 years, and that tells you how much money that she has saved from her birthdays, her last 6 birthdays.